Hi, and welcome to Accessibility Check-In, a conversation about accessibility within the hospitality space. My name is Shayna Conde. I am a travel and food journalist, and today we are talking about NoMad Hotel in London. First and foremost, what's the vibe? This hotel is made in one of the historic police stations in London, right on Bow Street. I will be talking about the history more in another video because my experience of staying at this hotel as a Black person from the United States and learning about the history of policing in the United States as compared to in the UK, it's interesting. And then actually being here, and they've reconfigured a lot of the cells that are still here to try and not reform, but to bring new life and let new air into this history of this very complicated situation, which is the history of policing in the West. So I'll be talking about that in another video. Will I put that video right here when it is up? Probably, but that is a little history of the space. When it comes to accessibility, let us discuss. Before we talk about the rooms, let's talk about actually getting into the hotel. So there are two ways to get into the hotel, obviously through the front door, but there are a few stairs to get in, but if you look, like if you go in and then make a quick turn, there's a wheelchair lift. So if you're having issues getting in or out, you can use that. It is right there. This hotel, NoMad London, has two accessible rooms. I will be posting videos of them here. Both of these options have similar stylings, like the interior designer for this entire building. They play within a similar color palette, within a similar range of textures and things like that. So it does, both spaces give luxury in a quirky kind of way. I like it. Throughout the hotel, there are elevators that take you up and down. So if you see the big staircase as soon as you enter in, don't worry, there are elevators around. Sometimes getting to bathrooms, because there are three restaurants here. I have my favorite. I will talk about that one later. Getting to the bathroom, though, depending on which restaurant you're in, can be a little bit tricky because finding the elevators from those bathrooms can be a little bit of an adventure. I'll share a little bit more about that later. Important thing to note, though, because of the design of the hotel, there is like this moody kind of lighting that happens, which essentially means it's a little dark. It's a little dark. So there are signs to figure out how to get to where throughout the hotel, but because it's a little bit darker, because of the lighting, the vibe that they're trying to give and very successfully giving, it can be hard to see. And this is somebody, speaking as somebody who wears glasses. So if you are somebody that is visually impaired, just something to make a note of. When it comes to throughout the hotel, those are important things to note. Obviously, if you have any other amenities that you're curious about, email them, call them, let them know, and they'll try their best to work with you. But yeah, just general things to note, those things. Now, let's talk about the rooms. NoMad has two accessible rooms. The first one is obviously everything is all on one level. Yes, it's not on the first floor, so you need to go to the elevator to get to it. This room has gorgeously high ceilings, very high ceilings. I think it's made in the old part of the hotel because this place, because it's made in a police station. I think the police station was made in like 1881. So there's a lot of old spaces here. So there's old stuff and then there's new stuff built on top of it and around it. I think this was in the old space though. So you get some of those old things, vibes, if you will. The bedroom is very nice. It's a little bit on the smaller side, but if it's just you or if you're on a vacation or something like that, it's great. The bathrooms are where I was living, very bright. I like the tile work that's going on, but more specifically, I think a good thing that they did here, it's a little touch, is keeping the hardware that's around the sink and around the toilet, also bringing it into the shower when it comes to the accessible amenities, like the bench, like the handles, all of that. It's all the same hardware that matches the rest of the bathroom. The sink is wheelchair accessible. You can roll right under there. They have little strings, so that way if you need some assistance, bing, It's right there. So the bathroom space, the rooms itself are very light, bright, airy. I will say something that confused me though upon getting here is that you need to turn on the lights outside of the bathroom, and not every bathroom toilet section has a door. So the other accessible room is much bigger. You've got a whole couch, you've got like a seating area. I mean, the first place has a seating area, but this one seems a little bit more, it's just larger. Similar bathroom setup, same hardware, it's just a little bit bigger. And you'll notice that in the artwork for both of these spaces, including right here, they work with artists and dancers and mixed media artists to create custom pieces of art in everybody's room. So I think that's really cool. And some of the art pieces, you can actually see the process of the paints. Some of the art pieces are the process of making the art, which I think is really cool. So they have a couple of restaurants on site. They have the NoMad Restaurant, which is in this gorgeous greenhouse space. It used to be the courtyard where the people were, it used to be a courtyard, but then somehow they turned it into this gorgeous greenhouse area. Great for pictures. They have a little bar right underneath the main lobby also, which is connected to the NoMad Restaurant. And just off the side, there's a fireplace space, which is for like small parties. You could rent it out and just special events. But my favorite restaurant in this space is the Side Hustle. Side Hustle is the Mexican restaurant on the premises. Their drinks menu is fascinating. I strongly recommend the Sergeant Pepper. It is my go-to if you like something that's sweet yet savory, because there's not hot pepper, but think bell pepper notes, think refreshing, think lightly herbaceous. It's amazing. I love their menu. I will be going there every single day of my trip here. There's also the library. The library is a gorgeous space. If you want those classic kind of pictures, those old money pictures, do that in the library. When it comes to the menu in the library's menu is a little bit of a amalgamation of all of the other menus. If you are interested in a Sunday roast, they have that here. Interestingly enough, I had my first Sunday roast. It was good. It just wasn't like, I'm not a Sunday roast girl. I'm not a Sunday roast girly. So if you're a Sunday roast girly, maybe you would love it. Me, I was like, it was a life experience. Oh, important things to know about like what to do in town. This hotel is literally right across the street from the Royal Opera House. So if you are into the arts and you just around a couple corners, that's the West End. So if you like the arts, if you like seeing live shows, if you're into all of that, this is a great location to be in. Lots of public transportation options. If you prefer to walk, I will say the streets, roads, sidewalks here, they're pretty doable, I would say. I've seen people on mobilized scooters and wheelchairs making their way around. So it's a pretty easily accessible place to be in. Within the hotel, let's talk about accessible amenities. There are other things that people need to know about this location. Important things to know when it comes to accessibility. There are spaces in the hallways that are, I'm calling them like emergency checkpoints, right? Because let's say that there's a fire or there's some kind of emergency, we're fine, but let's just say that there's some kind of emergency. Some of the doors lock themselves, but if you are a person that needs assistance, you can find or you can tap one of the emergency checkpoints, and somebody will come and find you in that area and then help to guide you through the hotel to enter whichever space is designated for guests, for safety or whatever. Once again, it's a little dark in here. There's a lot of carpet also. So if that's a thing that you need to know, the hallways are mostly carpets. I think that off the cuff, that is everything, or most things. If you have any follow-up questions, please let me know in the comments. If you have any concerns, any thoughts, any things that you would like my thought on, please let me know. And thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.